Dear students, welcome to this session. In this session, we are going to look into lab program number 11. Develop a program to sort the given set of n numbers using bubble sort. So, what we have to do is we have to sort given set of n numbers. So, n is, let's say, for example 10. For a given n numbers, given 10 numbers, we have to sort them. And what is sort or the sorting? The sorting is a technique where you will put the given numbers in a particular order, either in the ascending order, that is lower number to the higher number, or in descending order, that is higher number to the lower number. And when we talk about the given set of numbers, how do we store the set of numbers? So here we would consider in this particular program we will consider it as a integer numbers and a set of numbers. These are a similar set, so we will use a array. So user will give n number of integers, and those n number of integers or the numbers will be stored in an array, and user will give those numbers in any random order. User may not give it in a particular order, user will give it in any random order, and our program should be able to arrange it in a proper order. In this example, whatever the program we are going to consider, we are going to put the numbers in an ascending order, that is lower number to the higher number. So among the given n numbers, lower numbers will be starting with the lower numbers at the lower indexes, and as the index increases for the array, we are going to put the higher valued numbers. And for this sorting, there are different techniques, and one of the other technique you have already learned is a selection sort. In this case, we are going to use the bubble sort. Using a bubble sort, how we are going to do the sorting, we will see it in today's session. And how we do it, first is the problem statement understanding. So that is what just now I explained. Once we understand the problem statement, then we talk about the logic, how we are going to implement this logic using the bubble sort. We will take an example, we will understand the logic first, and also we will talk about a pseudocode, what are the things we need to consider in case of a programming. Once we understand the logic behind the bubble sort, then we will understand the program itself. So we will go by each line by line instruction and understand what each instruction is doing. Then we will run the program, compile the program, we'll run the program, and we'll see the output, how the output looks. And also at the end we will have we will look into the flow chart. So ideally the flow chart should be the first one to start with. To make it very simple, we will go with the logic program, and then we will finish the understanding with the comparison with the flow chart of the program. So first we will begin with understanding the bubble sort. Okay, so here is the bubble sort. The main technique here is, so as we understood, there is going to be an array, and user will randomly give the numbers, and those numbers will be stored in an array. And in case of a bubble sort, the technique here is the bubble, the meaning of the bubble is whenever we have a bubbles, they rise up, okay, and the heavier things will go down. Okay. So in this technique, what we are going to do is, as this technique works, you are going to see the heavy numbers or the higher valued numbers are going to settle down, and the lower number going to bubble up. So that is how we will make a order. Initially we will start with this is the array A, and array A has, let's say array the n value number of integers, let's say user has given as 5. How many elements will be there in my array? 5 elements will be there, and the name of the array is A, and user will give those 5 elements as 40, 50, 30, 20 and 10. And when we read this into an array, at index location 0 we will have 40, 40, at 1 50, at 2 we have 30, at index location 3 we have 20, at index location 4 we have 10. If you see this, they are not in a particular order. Now what is the bubble sort technique? It will do is, bubble sort technique is, it will compare the whole important thing about the bubble sort is this comparison: a of j greater than a of j plus 1. Means what is a of j? A of j is the jth element. We are comparing with the next element, that is j plus 1th element. We are comparing jth element with the j plus 1th element, whether it is greater. If a of j is greater than a of j plus 1, means we are comparing one element with the next indexed location element, and if this element is greater than the next element, then we will swap those numbers. Swap means what? We will interchange those two numbers. Suppose example, at a of j there is a number 20, at a of j plus 1 there is number 5. 20 greater than 5, true. Then in the jth location we will put the 5, and on the j plus 1th location we will put the 20. And if this condition is false, we are not going to change the any value in the array. So when we will, what is the criteria here? We compare a of j whether it is greater than a of j plus 1, that is next element. If it is greater, then we will switch their position, okay, swap the numbers. Now we will start with the, this is the initial value what user has given, and for your reference I have put the index. Now we will start with the first element. In this technique, what we are going to do is, we are going to compare this element with the next element, okay. So 40 is compared with the next element, that is a of j. Now what is a of in this case j? You can assume j as 0. A of 0 greater than a of 0 plus 1, a of 1, that is element 1. So this is a of 0, this is a of 1. A of 0 greater than a of 1. 40 greater than 50. Answer is false. No, it is not. So we are not going to do anything. Then we move the index location. We start from the 0, then we move to the next. You are seeing the highlighted elements, that is the value of the index. Initially I start with a 0, then I will move to the index number 1, index number 2, and index number 3. I am not going to go to the last index, the reason being j plus 1. So how long we are going to do the this comparison? Until one element lesser. So we have 5 elements, we are going to go up to one index lesser. So in this case we are going to go from first the index is set at 0. 40 greater than 50, answer is no. 40 will remain here and 50 will remain here, rest of the elements. Now our index is set to location 1. Now again a of j, now j value has become 1. A of 1 greater than a of 2. What is a of 2? 30. 50 greater than 30, answer is true. 50 is greater than 30. Then what we are going to do is, at now at index location 1 50 is there, and at index location 2 30 is there. Now we will swap this number. 30 will go to the index location 1 and 50 will come to the index location 2. That is what you can see here. So 30 and 50 are switched, and also index will move to the next location. Now index is here, j is equal to 2. Now a of 2 greater than a of 3. 50 greater than 20, answer is S. If answer is S, then we are going to switch these two numbers, right? 20 will go to the index location 2, 50 will come to the index location 3, that is the next. Okay, you can see the status of the array in the next diagram. So 40, 30, 20, now 50. Now index is at j is equal to 3, it is at the location 3. Now a of j, that is a of 3 greater than a of 4. Okay, 50 greater than 10, answer is yes. If answer is yes, we are going to swap the numbers. So 50 and 10 will be interchanged. Now you can see 50 comes to the bottom, right? Now this is called as a one pass. Now what we did, one pass means what? We started from the index location 0, then 1, 2, 3, right? 1 less than the index value. So after one pass, what has happened? The heavier element, or the element with the highest value, it settles down to the bottom. Now you can see the highest number is in the desired position. So this should be the, because we are going to do it in the ascending order, and we can see at the highest index location the largest number is already in place, that is after one pass. Again we will do the next pass. Next pass, again it begins from the initial value of the index. It will start from the 0. Now what is the array value? Array value is this 40, 30, 20, 10, 50. So that is what we have. Again we start from here. Now if you notice, earlier we did how many indexes it moved? 0, 1, 2 and 3. We did not go to the next one. In this case we will reduce it by 1. The reason being, already we have one number, it is in its position, so we don't need those many comparisons, or we need one less comparison. So we start from the index 0 and we will stop at the index number 3. Okay, so we'll start from here. A of 0, that is 40 greater than 30. 40 greater than 30, answer is true. We will swap these two numbers. We get 30 here, 40 here. Okay, and rest of the values will be as is, 20, 10, 50. Now index value was j is equal to 0. Now next j is equal to, we have to move to the next index value, j is equal to 1. Now a of j, what is a of j? 40. 40 greater than a of j plus 1, that is 20. Answer is true. We are going to swap these two values. Now you can see 20 is here and 40 is here, and also the index will move to the next location. Again I will compare the next location, j is equal to 2. J, a of 2 is greater than a of 3, that is 40 greater than 10. Answer is true. We are going to swap these two position. Now 10 is will be in the index location 2 and 3 will be in the index location 3. So if you can see in the second pass, in the first pass we got the highest value to the bottom of the array. Now you can see next highest value, that is 40, it has come to the right position just above the 50. So after second pass, our two largest numbers are in a proper position. Then we move to the third pass. Okay, so you can see the third pass here. When I say third pass, again we will begin from the initial j of 0. A of j, that is a of 30 greater than a of 1, that is 20. 30 greater than 20, answer is yes. We are going to switch these two elements. 20 will come here, 30 will come here. Again now index will, j is equal to 0, next j is equal to 1. A of 1 is greater than a of 2, that is 30 greater than 10, answer is yes. So we will swap these two numbers. 10 will come here, 30 will come here. Now see, here we did the 4 comparisons, here we did 3 comparisons, now we did 2 comparisons. So we are reducing 1, because every pass our one number is getting in a proper place. Now you can see 30 is in the proper place. Now 30, 40 and 50, the highest 3 numbers are in the proper order. We have to have only these two numbers should be aligned properly. So in the next pass, so we will have one more pass. In the next pass, fourth pass. In the fourth pass, again we will start from the 0 and a of 20, that is a of 0 greater than a of 1. 20 greater than 10, answer is true. We are going to swap these two numbers. So 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. So we are going to do only one comparison. Here we did two comparisons. Here we are going to do only one comparison. So if you see here, how many passes we took? The array was pass means what? Array was the array scanned from 0 to the element what is required. In the first pass we iterated from 0th element until last but one element, and in the second pass we iterated 0 to the in this case 0 to 3, in this case 0 to 2, in this case 0 to 1, and here just the 0th element. So every time we are passing through the element, that is called a one pass. And how to do that? We can use the for loop here, right? Initially I will say j is equal to 0, then I will increment, j will increment, j is equal to 1, j is equal to 2 and j is equal to 3. So this one pass, what does it represent? It represents the one for loop. Similarly, when I am going to the next for loop, I am reducing the maximum number of looping by 1. So every time it is reducing by 1. And how many passes? So we see there is a loop inside each pass. And how many passes are there? There are 4 passes in order to get the proper value. And how many passes will be actually there? It will depend on the your number of elements. If number of elements are 5, then number of passes required is 4. That means how many passes we would need? We need n minus 1 passes. So if there are 5 elements, we need 4 passes. If there are 10 elements, we need 9 passes. Okay, with this understanding, so what will happen? We need one bigger outer for loop for these passes, and inside that bigger for loop we need the for loops for each of the pass to scan from 0 to the required index value. So we have a loop inside a loop. That is how it is going to be implemented. Now we'll go and see the program. Okay, so that this whatever we have discussed in the logic, the same thing has been implemented. So initially we include the stdio.h. the statement is hash include angle bracket stdio.h. stdio.h is a standard input output header file. .h is a header file. We include this standard input output header file so that we can use the printf, scanf, all those functions will be available through this header file. Then we have the main with the empty parenthesis. This is I told in all our program the first statement is going to be hash include stdio.h, and second statement is going to be main with the empty parenthesis. Then we will have immediately after the main we will have open curly brace, that is the indication of the start of the program, and at the end we have one more closing brace, that is the end of the program, and in between these two curly braces we will have all other program statements. Okay, inside we have a declaration, integer declaration. All the numbers that we are going to use in this program are going to be integers. First thing is we need a array, because we need to store set of numbers. User gives a set of numbers. For storing the set of numbers, I have an array. Array is of type integer and it can hold a maximum of 50 numbers, that is the 50, comma n. N is the number of elements user will give. User might give 10, 15, 20, whatever the number user wants he can give. He may not give all the 50, and maximum number we can go for is a 50. Okay, this is just for the understanding the bubble sort. If you want if there is a requirement for more number of numbers to be sorted, then you can increase this particular dimension, that is size of the array. I and j we use it as a indices of a for loop, and a temp is just a variable name that will be used for the swapping purpose. So we said a of, whenever there is a of j is greater than a of j plus 1, we are going to swap. we will use the temp variable to do that particular swapping. First we are going to read the how many numbers user going to enter, that is n, and before doing the scanf statement we will prompt on the screen saying enter the size. So printf will do that, enter the size followed by a new line, and then scanf. What the scanf will do? Scanf will wait for the input from the keyboard, user input from the keyboard, and in the parenthesis of a scanf, we inside the double quotes I have %d specifying we are looking for an integer value, comma ampersand n. Ampersand signifies the address of the variable n, and ends with a semicolon. Again, next we are going to read the array. Before reading the array, again we will display a message for the user purpose saying enter array element, so that user will come to know he has to enter the array element. Let's say user given the n as 5, so he will know he has to enter 5 numbers. For reading 5 numbers, the n can given by the user, it is either he can give 5, 10, 15, it dynamically changes. So the number of elements to be read depends on how many numbers user has given. For doing that, we are going to use the for loop. So for I is equal to 0, I less than, so I is initialized to 0, I less than n, and I plus plus. So this for loop has only one statement, that is scanf. How many times it will iterate? It will iterate from 0 to n minus 1. When the value of the n becomes when the value of I becomes n, this is false and it will come out. For example, user has given as 5, I is equal to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus. So how many loops it will have? I is equal to 0, I is equal to 1, I is equal to 2, I is equal to 3, I is equal to 4. That is total 5 times it will do the looping. And when it is doing the loop for the 5 times, we have the scanf inside. Every time it will wait for the scanf will wait for the user input. So here inside the double quotes %d, that is the format specifier for the integer, and then comma ampersand a of a square bracket I. What is the a square bracket I? This, when I value is 0, it is reading the first element. After reading the first element, I value is incremented to 1. Then ampersand a of 1, it will read the next element, and so on. It will read a of 2, a of 3, and so on until a of n minus 1, that is the last element. Now this part is very simple, reading the number of elements and then reading the actual array elements. After that, this part what you are seeing is, this is the I would say the heart of your program. All the logic is here. Once this is a simple input statements, if you already know about how to read these these few statements are very easy, and after that this is the actual logic. Now the outer for loop, before we get into the details, the outer for loop, we understood from the logic we are going to need 2 loops, a loop inside another loop. The outer for loop is for the passes. I will just show you the Excel again. So the outer for loop, how many passes are there? 4 passes are there. Okay, so we have the 4, we need at least 4 loops, and inside each pass we have again loops are there. So how to get that 4 loops? For example, here n is equal to 5, user has given 5, I is equal to 1, I less than equal to 5 minus 1, 4, I less than equal to 4, means how many times these statements will be repeated? I is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, that is 4 times these instructions will be repeated, and this for loop starts here and it ends here. So this for loop will give me the 4 passes. If n user has given 10 elements, I am going to have 9 passes, right? That is the requirement fulfilled by the outer for loop. And inner for loop, what is the inner for loop is doing? Every time it is scanning the array starting from 0, okay, and it will increment by 1 every time. And how long it will go? J less than equal to n minus I minus 1. So if you see, n minus I value is there, because with every new pass this iteration will reduce by 1. So you can see here we had 4 iterations, here we have 3, 2 and 1. So that is achieved by having this minus I, n minus I minus 1, that is achieved. For example, I will consider initially I is equal to 1. Okay, so we are in the first pass, I is equal to 1 and j will start from here, j is equal to 0. Okay, j is equal to 0 and j, how long it should go? From our logic it should go up to only j is equal to 3. We will come back here, we will check. I is less than equal to j is less than equal to n minus 1 minus 1. I value is what? I value is 1. So this is 5 minus 1 minus 1, that is 3. 5 minus 2, 3. So how long this will go? J is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3. That is what we have. See, here it will go up to 3. Right? Now what it will do is, next inside the inner for loop we have only one statement, that is if statement. What we are checking is whether a of j is greater than a of j plus 1. What is a of j? J is 0. A of 0 greater than a of 1. So if you see the here, 40 greater than 50, right? False. If that condition is false, there is no else part. Okay, so there is no else part, the statement will come here, this part is not executed and it will go for the next iteration. It will increment the value of j. J will become 1. Earlier it was 0, it will become 1. Then it will check 1 less than equal to 3. Answer is true. Again it will come here, if a of 1 greater than a of 2. What is a of 1? See here, a of 1 is 50. A of 1, the index j is 0. Now next iteration j is equal to 1. A of 1 greater than a of 2. A of 1 is 50, a of 2 is 30. 50 greater than 30. Answer is true. Then what is happening here? The values are swapped. At index location 1, 30 will go, at index location 2, 50 will go. Same thing will happen here. So in the second case, when a of 1 is greater than a of 2, answer is true. We are storing j plus 1 value into temp, and at location a of j plus 1 we are storing whatever is in the a of j, means because a of j is a bigger value, that value is stored in the j plus 1 and the temp value is stored in a of j. This is how we do the swapping. Now after this again it will go to j plus plus, the value will become 1, after this this is 1, the value will become 2. It will become, earlier it was 0, then became 1, now it will become 2. Now a of 2 greater than a of 3. So a of 2 greater than a of 3. Answer is again true. 50 is greater than 20. So these are swapped. 20 will this will be swapped, and after the swapping j will become 3. 3 less than equal to 3. Answer is true. A of 3 greater than a of 4. A of 3 is 50 greater than a of 4, 10. Answer is true. The values will be swapped. 10 will go here, 50 will go here. So after one pass, so now one pass is complete. Next what will happen? J will become 4, but 4 less than equal to 3, answer is false, it will come out. So one pass is complete. Now it will go for the second pass. When it goes for the second pass, I value becomes 2. Now inner for loop, j is equal to 0, j less than equal to 5 minus 2 minus 1, that is 5 minus 3, 2. So index will go from 0 to 2 only. So if you see here 0, 1 and 2. okay, and the rest of the logic is the same. It will do the comparison. If a of j is greater than a of j plus 1, it will do the swapping, otherwise it will move to the next value, and if it completes one pass, it will go to the next pass. So until all the passes are complete. When this condition becomes false, now I value will become 4, okay, then the fourth pass will complete. After the fourth pass is complete, all the arrays are in the proper position. I value will become 5. 5 less than equal to 4, answer is false. It will come out of this for loop. Once it comes out of the for loop, what is the meaning? The meaning is whatever the user given array, it is properly set into an ascending order. Then print the array, printf array elements in ascending order, new line. And how to print the array? For printing the array, again you need a for loop. For reading an one dimensional array, you need one for loop, and similarly for printing one dimensional array, you need one for loop. Now for I is equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, and you will printf the all the values. A of I means initially it will print 0, then a of 0, a of 1, a of 2, a of 3, a of 4. Our example is I n value is 5, and if you see here, one little change is, instead of %d we have %4d. What it will do is, it will when while printing, it allocates 4 spaces. So that is how it will print. Other than that, even if you use just the %d, it will work fine, there is no problem. So when this is how the sorting is done, and the sorted array is displayed. Most important thing you have to remember is the whole logic is in these couple of lines. So 1 2 3 4 5 6, these are the lines the whole logic is implemented. Before this logic we have the input statements, and after this logic we have the output statement. If you remember the input and output, that is very simple. What you have to remember is only these few sets of lines where the whole bubble sort logic is implemented. Now after compiling this program, I will show you the output first, and then we are going to do the compilation also. When you run this program, you do the compilation and there are no errors. After that you will run the program. How do you do the compilation? You will use, in case of our lab environment, it is gcc space file name .c, and if there are no errors, then it will create the a.out, that's the executable file. And how to run the executable file? You will say ./a.out. Once you do that, on the console you will see enter the size. So in this case, user has given the input as number 8, and after user hits the enter key, again it will prompt the user to enter array elements. Then these are the array elements in a random order: 9, 27, 45, 1, 36, 89, 12, 63. Once we get all those values, this is, it will go through those passes. So how many passes will be there? 8 minus 1, 7 passes will be there. Okay, after 7 passes you will get the output like this: 1, 9, 12, 27, 36, 45, 63, 89, which is in a perfect ascending order. Now what we will do is, we will just run this program using the JDoodle compiler, online compiler. And if you have any other kind of compiler, if you have any compiler on your desktop, and also any kind of a compiler I suggested you for the mobile app also, you can run the program. You just enter the program and execute it. I will just copy the program and I will go to the online editor. So when you load the JDoodle C online compiler, this is the default program you are going to see. I will remove that and I will paste the program, and you have to do the indentation, very important. Okay, I will quickly do the indentation. Okay, indentation should be done here as well in this for loop. Okay, we have, once we have the bracket, we should have one more tab for all these values. What is the advantage of indentation? Indentation makes your program to it will not change any logic wise. There is no difference. Only thing, it will make your program very readable, right? Okay, now we have the complete program. Okay, main, we have the main. I will just say int, the reason being on JDoodle it expects main to be returning integer. What will happen if you don't include that? It will give you just a warning, so it will not cause any error. It is just a warning. If you are okay with the warning, you can leave that. We have in the declaration part, then we are reading the we are reading the n, we are reading array, then we have the for two for loops, and we have the printf statement. Okay, what is the beauty of indentation? Look at the program, you can see, easily make out the program starts here, program ends here, and these are all in the same level. For this for loop, there is only one statement, and for this for loop, this is the open curly brace, this is the closing, and inside we have, this should take one more, all right. See, for loop for this for loop has only one statement, and this if statement has only one block, that is true block. So that is the beginning of the true block, there is no false block. And after this for loop, we have the output. Now what I will do is, this program expects the input, so I will give the input here. I will give the same values what we gave for our example, where we, so it is 40 50 30 20 10. 40 50, I would say this would be 40 50, then 30 20 and 10. Let me check. 40 50 30 20 and 10. 40 50 30 20 and 10. Now I will execute. This is the result window. Okay, now it will take the, enter the size, it will take from the standard input 5 array elements, 40 50 30 20 10, and we got the output 10 20 30 40 50, which is in the ascending order. So this is how you can do. If there are any errors, you need to debug the errors in this particular compiler. If there are any errors, it will right away, it will show here. You have only one button which takes care of the compilation as well as the execution. Unlike the lab environment, we have two separate steps, one for the compilation and one for the execution. Now at the end, we will see the flow chart. Okay, this is the flow chart, and we will try to check if we can put the lab program side by side. Okay, this is the lab program. Give me some time. I will set these two windows side by side so that it would be little easy to understand. This I will reduce to 75. Let me reduce it to further. I will make it as 70%. Okay, so we have the program, lab program, on the left hand side window. Let me remove this part. Now this is better. Now initially the this is the flow chart. This is start of the program. We have start and we read. So we have the input statement here. That input statement is we will have a parallelogram, read number of elements n. Okay, after reading n, we read the array elements. You can say directly read read array A for n elements. You need not, if you want to have a for loop, you can do that for loop. Otherwise you can just say read array. That this will gives the implementation of both array, both for loop as well as the reading element by element. Then after that we have the for loop. The for loop, what is the first statement that is executed in the for loop? First statement that is executed is I is equal to 1. So in the flowchart you will say initialize I is equal to 1. Once it initialize I is equal to 1, then what it will do is it will check if this condition is true or no. It will check whether 1 is less than equal to n minus 1. If this condition is true, then it will do this part, otherwise it will come to this. So if I is less than is equal to n minus 1, you can see this for loop. If I is less than equal to n minus 2, answer is true. If it is true, it will come here. And what is this for loop? First statement executed is j is equal to 0. Initialize j is equal to 0, and then after j is equal to 0, it will check whether that value is less. It will check the condition j less than equal to n minus I minus 1. So if j is less than equal to n minus I minus 1, and if this statement is true, it will come here. So I am just going in the true path. Okay, we will come to the false. Then what happened here? J is less than equal to n minus I minus 1, true. If this condition is true, what we have a if statement. If a of j greater than a of j plus 1. Answer is, if this condition is true, it will execute this part. Now this is the true path. If answer is true, swap array elements in I and j index location. So temp is equal to a of j plus 1, a of j plus 1 is equal to a of j is equal to temp. Now, the same swapping will be done, and once the swapping is complete, it will go for the next iteration. In the next iteration, what will happen? J value will be incremented by 1. So after that, j is equal to j plus 1, and once the j is equal to j plus 1 increment is done, it will check for the condition. It will check this condition. Again, after incrementing, it will check whether j is less than equal to n minus I minus 1. As long as this condition is true, it will keep on repeating the loop. Let's say now this condition is true, it will come here. If a of j greater than a of j plus 1, if this condition is false, then it will not do the swapping. So this is the false. Okay, if it is false, what it will do? If it is condition is false, statement will come here and it will go for the next iteration, that is by incrementing the j value. You can see false, j is equal to j plus 1, again it will check the condition. When this condition becomes false, okay, when this condition becomes false, so this condition is false, means this for loop is done. Then the execution will come here and it will go for the next iteration for the I, this for loop I value will be incremented to I plus 1. You can see here, if this inner for loop is done, then condition becomes false, I value is incremented to I is equal to I plus 1, and this condition is checked again, I less than equal to, see this condition is checked, I less than equal to n minus 1. Okay, and as long as this condition is true, the same things will be repeated, means those are the number of passes. Once the number of passes are complete, then this condition I less than equal to n minus 1, that is this condition will become false. Once this condition becomes false, this for loop is done. It will not repeat the instruction inside, it will come out of the loop, and what is the next statements we have? We are displaying the sorted array. You say display the sorted array, and after that the program will stop. Okay, so that is the logic, and as every week, please complete the journal for this. The flowchart is given. Try to write the algorithm based on the flowchart and the program, and complete the journal.